Hello and welcome back to Factorio, and now we will try to finish this. Now this might take some time, putting up like basically initializing your train system, like putting it up and get it started is going to take quite some time. So it might take some time. It might be not only this episode and the next one, but maybe even the episode after that until we are up and running and actually can say that yes, we are finished with our train system, like startup train system. Now, this is the completely wrong way. We should go over here, where we actually have an entrance point through the wall. Go. And what we need right now is more cliff explosives. And we want... let's take a peek. We want... what do we want? We have a bunch of rails, so we shouldn't need more of that at least. Now, I think we are going to need a lot more of these, the fast inserters. Now, when it comes to train stations, using the stack inserter is the absolute best one, but I think we are going to at least start using the fast inserter. You want to use the fast inserter over like the regular one. So if you're going to make train stations with in vanilla Factorio, and you don't have any like crazy stuff to unload, you just have normal inserters, then fast inserter is your, you could say, like initial one to get started, and then you upgrade into stack inserter, because the faster you can load and unload, the quicker the train can go back either to unload or load. Now we need to decide where we are going to put the train stations over here. Now we are going to remove these. Let's remove that one. We could probably do something like this to speed up the drain of that bit of the ore patch over there. Let's do this just to... right, we don't need to do that. We can just do this. There we go. And this is just to make sure that there's a full belt. So this part, like this part over here, gets drained first. That one is done. Now, these ones are empty. Where do we want the train station? Because the thing is, I'm not going to like keep the smelter areas like separated. I'm just going to build them left and right depending on what I need when I need them. So I think keeping like quite large of an like extra space, like something like this probably. Keeping that as empty space to put belts and stuff like that is probably a good idea. And so let's see, where do we want the stations at that point? Now, I do think we need to have at least 2 stations for unloading copper and iron. And then we can have like 1 for coal and 1 for stone and so on. But I do believe we should make 1 for iron, 2 for iron, 2 for copper, and then the rest of them we could get away with just having like 2. Now we are going to have to build this a bit specially because right, I actually do have the blueprints for this. This means we can actually measure out to see how much space we are going to use. As you can see, there's a lot of space that's going to get used up. This is the reason why we want a lot of space and a bit of extra space just in case. Now, I'm not going to build it, I'm just using this blueprint as a spacer for now. Let's remove these cliffs who are going to be very much in the way. And as always, any kind of explosive thing is going to be very loud. And just to give us an example, it would look something like this. And now that radar is in the way, but yeah, this is basically how it would look like we do this. So, and this is just for iron and copper, basically. This is just for iron and copper, so you can imagine how much space it's going to take up. Then we need for coal, and then we need for a stone and whatever else we are going to need. So let's remove some stuff like that. Let's remove this. Here we go. And then I'm going to put this one down right there as a spacer. And we are going to keep on destroying cliffs because, yeah, we are going to need a lot of space out here. We are going to remove this. There we go. We have absolutely no normal grenades. That's No, not good. Let's make the 4 we can make, so now we can in the meantime shoot some trees. Clean up the ones we don't want to use a grenade on, basically. And we have a bunch of the bad ammunition anyway, so we could make use of it by firing, like shooting trees. There we go. That's all the grenades we have for now. We probably should go pick up some more grenades. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the ghost here to place down where this is going to go, just to get this line down to see where we want it to go. Because the thing is, we are going to need stackers, which is basically it's a parking like parking spots for the trains. Now I do not remember what it's called in real life. Like, it has a name, I just can't remember what it is. But essentially it's basically a place where where the train can park and wait for its turn. And in common tongue, when it comes to Factorio, it's called a train stacker. So that is most likely what I'm going to call it. Do I actually have grenades being made? Not really. What I should do, to be honest, is actually yeah, what I should do is this. I could do something like this. Whoops. Player is in the way. And what I'm going to do right now, if I had electronic circuits, where is the car? There's the car. What I'm going to do is make a red wire, and you'll see why. Because I'm going to have it in my hand, click on the long-handled inserter, and then click on the box with the cliff explosives. This is now something that I can program to say, okay, if cliff explosives is equal or greater than 60, then you're allowed to work. So it's enable disable condition. So when this condition is true, when cliff explosive is equal or greater than 60, then it will put all the grenades in the box. And that means we don't actually need to make a separate machine to make grenades, because technically we already have one, and most of the time the cliff explosives are going to just sit there and wait. So let's see if we can get rid of a lot of the trees over here. Now I should probably have used the grenades on this bit over here, but I was a dum-dum and didn't. Now regardless of when we do it, we are going to have to remove this forest. That's why I'm doing it now. So we can measure out and decide where stuff is going to go for this train station in the base. And since we need to do it, we could just do it right now, get it out of the way and get it done, so we don't actually have to do it later. Since we are going to have to do it, since we're here, we can just do it right now just as well. Now the reason why I'm not shooting the stones is because the stone is a resource that is very valuable, a lot more valuable than wood. And wood is basically infinite, and you use it for such few kind of items that destroying the wood is not going to cripple you in any way. Though the stone, the more you can get, the better, the less you're going to have to search for stone. At least you might alleviate the problem when it comes to stone shortage. Now the big question is, where do we want our stackers to go? Because if we use this just to... The way of talking very loudly is very annoying. But anyway, that's the deal when you're not living on your own. But let's see here if we can just ignore it and get this stuff done. There we go. That's basically copper and iron. And that's it. Now I think I actually want to have like coal over here. And I think what I'm going to do is make stone last. And then I can add uranium later on, like over here somewhere. It's I might do uranium for showing you as a viewer what it is and what can be made with it, but I'm not going to go super deep into it because you don't actually have, like, you don't need to do it, and there's a bunch of stuff. If you don't do it in a certain way, it's going to be very inefficient, and it is a lot of like resources you have to spend to make it work. But with this, we should have a sort of grasp on where stuff is going to go. Now, I'm not going to use the blueprints to actually build stuff. This is just, as I said, to measure out and see where stuff where stuff might go. So it's just to see where I have to like clear space and maybe move stuff from and so on. Let's start shooting trees again, because shooting trees is the best thing to do when you don't have anything else you need to do. Now, let's see. I'm not sure I'm going to do anything like on the top side, like over here, like extend the wall north. I might do that later on, but I don't think I'm going to do it right now. I don't think I'm going to do anything like upwards when it comes to the train stations. Like I do have, let's see here, this one is actually to be over here. This is designed so I could actually make this one over here possible. It is actually like this, basically. So I could do this to get up like that. But I think I'm going to go with just like this, as I've marked out. And then it comes to the stacker. Now I have two stackers. I think this is the one we want to go with. This blueprint is actually not complete. It's missing a very vital component in the blueprint, and that's a few signals, and more precisely rail signals. I will actually put it down and build it to show you where it's missing. I did the blueprint before I actually put them down, so that's why they are not in the blueprint. And the stacker is something that is working because of how the signals works. I think we should be fine like that. That should be enough, right? Yeah. So if we put it down, what is missing is when you come into here, basically what I want to do is remove this and add like one here for when you're coming in. So as an example, no, not like that, like that. So as an example, I'm going to just do this just to show. I'm going to keep it because or no, I'm going to remove it because I'm not sure I'm going to want it right here. But anyway, yeah, so you want this one here to see which one is open and unoccupied, and then you want a normal rail signal to look ahead to see if there's anything in the way. Let's do that like that. There we go. And then you have these chain signals to see if there's a free station, and you can't put down, this is very, very important, you cannot put down any rail signals at this point. You are not allowed to use any rail signals along this in any part of the station, because if you do, the stacker won't work. Why it's not working, I will go into more detail later on, but this is basically what's missing in the blueprint. It's just rail signals to see if there's empty place in the stacker. If there's not an empty place, it's going to go red to say this one is occupied, which means this goes blue. So the trains knows that okay, there's something that's occupied, then I'm going to go to the one that's green, and so on and so forth until the stacker is full. And we could expand this stacker to the left, and then we just need to add more rail signals, and we are gonna have to move this chain signal to where the beginning is. Now let's tear this down, because I'm not sure I want this here. But that's basically what's missing in the blueprint, because when I blueprinted it, I didn't put that part in, which is stupid, but that's just how it is. Now, I am going to want this track here. Exactly where the stations are going to go, I'm not 100% sure of just yet. I do believe I want them at this level at least. I think that's a good level to be in right now. And yes, let's get this. And then what I'm going to do at the end, like when I have absolutely no more stations I want to add, I'm going to put a roundabout with only a bunch of rail, like a bunch of chain signals. So if there's a train that for some reason is going in loop, they can actually like go back out again. Now they shouldn't do that, so I'm not sure I'm going to do that roundabout loop, but I might. We'll have. I'm not going to put it in at once. I might put it in if there seems to be a need for it. Better to keep it clean and simple than trying to future-proof too much, because you never know what problems might arise from trying to fix something that possibly isn't even broken from the beginning. Here we go. A bit more destroyed. Let's remove a bit more. Yeah, we can. Let's remove as much cliffs. Like, since we have started using cliff explosives, like, sure, let's remove the ones that's in the way. Now I'm going to try to refrain from, like, I'm going to not like destroy every single cliff that's inside my base and not a part of my wall, because I want them to be a block. Though I am going to remove this bit which is in the way for the bus, but I think I'm not going to do anything else. The rest is I'm going to have to work around. I just used that last one here to get rid of it. Let's pick up some grenades. I'm actually going to take one stack of cliff explosives, not a full stack, just 20. But we are coming up to the end. I was extremely lucky to just sneak a peek at the time there. Otherwise, we could have easily gone for 40 minutes. But it was quite a lucky sneak peek there on the time for me. So what we are going to try to do, I'm going to, before we end the episode, actually go ahead and pick a bit more science, because we do need to, yeah, we need lubricant. That is something we are going to need, so let's start that one. The next kind of science, yes please, let's take that one. Let's do some more lab research speed, and let's do laser turrets. That's a good one as well. And let's take the modules, the level 2 modules, all of them, because we are going to need them later on. So let's unlock them like that. And the lubricant is completing quickly. But anyway, I'm going to pause, and we are going to end this episode here. We are going to continue building the stations. Now, just before we end, you absolutely don't need to build the stations this big. Just put a bit of rail and a station, and then make like boxes and a few fast inserters to grab stuff out of the train wagons, and you have a station. You have a loading and unloading station. Very simple. It's super simple to do it. It's just, I'm doing this, so I'm going to have I'm not going to have to like rebuild it later on, because I'm going to need this amount of trains coming and going. So we don't have, as I said before, don't have like a 60 plus hours playthrough. But with that, we are going to end this episode. So thanks for watching, goodbye, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.